This is Tabletop Weekly, and we are the partners of Solarian Games. I'm Jason.
And I'm Peter.
And we have a special guest with us tonight. Introduce yourself, Brian.
Hello, I am Brian Shutter. I am writer, creator of Neon Lords of the Toxic Wasteland primarily.
Oh, yeah. Lord Randy.
Yes.
All right, so the stories we've got tonight, we're going to talk a little bit about the Analog Union. We're going to talk about Neon Lords of the Toxic Wasteland. And we're going to say some other stories. A Monopoly importer learns a hard lesson about printing domestically. D&D players raise millions in real-life campaigns against the corporate elite. Pathfinder may be in trouble. Rob Kuntz announces the publication of Calibrun. And Backerkit inks a deal with DrivethruRPG.
Nice.
So what do we talk about? What do we talk about first? Analog Union?
Analog Union, yeah.
All right. So, y'all, everybody should know by now that we are part of the Analog Union Collective. This is a group of independent game publishers, and not just game publishers. We're getting artists and writers and stuff into it. Brian, you're a member.
I am a member.
Founding member.
Founding member, but I think I've submitted once.
Yeah, well, that's okay. I mean, hey, it's all. So we set this newsletter up, and anybody who's out there, you can go to analogunion.com, and you should, because you can sign up for free. You get a newsletter every week. Some of the stuff in there is going to be free stuff, promotional stuff, good deals, stuff that's coming out. A lot of the stuff is just cool editorial. You know, there's like indie gamer nerd fest, and it's fun to read. You get it every week, and if you have ideas, stuff you want to see in there, we've started a subreddit, so you can go to reddit.com/r/analogunion, and you can actually just yell at us and say, this is what I like, or you can promote yourself. The whole point is the Analog Union is there to promote and big up indie gamers and indie game publishers and creators, and we're having such a good time, and it's a nice way for us to hang out, and hopefully for y'all to hang out with us too. So analogunion.com.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yes. All right. What are we doing? First story?
Yeah, first story.
That's you. You're Peter.
It is me.
It's your story. It's your story.
It is my story. Yes. It has
We
my
are a
name
professional
on it.
bunch here. The P stands for Professional Peter.
Yes, Professional Peter. Yes. I am a Professional Peter. All right. Anyway, so turns out that there was a manufacturer who wanted to make Monopoly, make it, and like an
well, let's be clear. They make special editions of them. They're licensed from Hasbro. This isn't one of those like Dogopoly for your dog. No, it's a real. They make special, fancy editions.
Right, and this was marketed by the WS Game Company, and it produces most of its high-end stuff in China, as most places do. They also have some other special edition Hasbro games here. I'm going to show these real quick. So you can see, like, there's Clue, and then there's Scrabble. If you're looking on the screen, there are these
Clue
nice,
luxury,
beautiful, like, box sets that are, really elegant. And then there's like a whole stream of these down here. Now, Jason, you put this picture up here. What are these? What are all these little sets here?
Okay, so they primarily do two different sets of things. They also do special things. As it happens, my wife has used them as a vendor before when some of her clients want like a really fancy version of something. But they typically do one of two things. They do these high-end luxury versions of board games. Like you see Clue Luxury there, and it's in a beautiful mahogany box, and it's got a glass playing surface, and the mansion rooms go beneath it. It's like a $400 version of Clue.
I've seen it set up in a store.
How is it?
Yeah.
It's insane. I wanted to buy it, and then I was like, $370 is a little rough on a Clue set.
That's a lot.
It looked awesome. Unbelievably awesome.
Somewhere out there's like a high roller millionaire who's like, you should come up to my apartment and see my version of Clue.
Well, the big scary thing is that Scrabble Deluxe is only $135. That's like standard board game prices nowadays.
Yeah. I would actually buy the Scrabble Deluxe because I love Scrabble. It's fun.
Yeah,
and,
I mean, that 135 is not terrible.
And it's actually got practical purposes. It spins around, and it's got the tiles stood in there, and it's wood. It looks nice. Yeah, sometimes it's good like that. And then they have this other line of things they call their bookshelf games or bookcase games. And anybody who's been a gamer long enough and is probably needing to check their cholesterol levels remembers that Avalon Hill used to do what they called bookcase games back in the day, and the idea is that the game it sits on your bookshelf with your books and it looks beautiful with them. So that's what they've done here is they've made the spines look like classy, special edition books. So yeah, your bookshelf looks like it's got amazing things like, oh, what are these leather-bound books? Oh, well, that's Clue, that's Monopoly, that's Chutes and Ladders, that's
Right.
Sorry, that's Battleship. But they look great. So this is what they guys do. They license from Hasbro and other people, and then they create these for their own customers.
There's a part of me that wants to do like an R-rated version of life where like real things happen to you that happen in real life, but that's probably never going to happen.
There was a game that was made. Unfortunate name is called Ghettopoly, and
okay.
it's the sense of humor is just it's very 80s, dummy. But the general concept, I mean, okay, maybe try it.
Right. All right. So anyway, so this company, after getting hit with a 7-figure, that's right, 7, that's in the millions, tariff bill last year, the CEO, Jonathan Silva, decided to see if it was possible to produce a profitable board game in the United States. But we have talked about this on the show before, that there just isn't. Hold on one second.
Well, Peter's dying over there.
Sorry, there just isn't the infrastructure here to do that, and they found this out firsthand. So, first off, no one in the U.S. has the equipment to make dice at scale, which I didn't know that. I didn't know you couldn't even make dice at scale, and they only needed 10,000. That's not that many dice.
Yeah, I mean, we see all these dice makers making really cool, beautiful stuff that we buy at cons, but these are artisanal kind of things.
Yeah.
They're
making batches of like 100.
Yeah, the thing is that they're able to sell them for a slightly premium price because gamers are going to buy their cool specialty dice. A gamer will spend $40 on a set of dice.
Yeah,
a tabletop, serious, whatever. What are we called? Hardcore gamers? Yuck. But
Sure.
But if you got to put them in a Monopoly box, that's a whole different story. Now those things have to be cheap, and they have to be a lot of them, and they have to be a perfect. It's a different story.
Yeah, completely. And then, not only that, but they couldn't get components all in the same place, so they had to have their boards printed at a former Hasbro factory in Massachusetts. They had their money tray had to be printed at Pioneer Packaging, metal player tokens in Indiana. And, so I don't know how much people realize this. If you've never run like projects before, you've had things made, the number one cost is labor. It's always labor. Labor is always more expensive than anything. I mean, unless you're like manufacturing like enriched plutonium or something like that,
Which game is that? I want to play that game.
Right. But I'm just saying, if you're making,
I think that sounds like one of Brian's games.
Yeah.
Right, sure. I'm saying, but like anything, like if you're making, something for like I don't know, sports.
Labor costs a lot.
Labor costs a lot. Anyway.
Yeah. It turns out people got to eat.
So just assembling all those different parts took more than a year, and he missed the first half of the 250th birthday selling season.
Oh, right. This was a 250th and 250th, right, whatever they called it, by sesquicentennial edition.
Right. And the game wound up retailing for about $80, and which is double of what it would have cost in China. If they made it in China, it would have been cost half that. And even with the tariffs, it would have still been cheaper. So the toy industry is now lobbying a carve out. What's that? What is a carve out from future
Give
tariffs?
us an exception. Like, okay, so you're gonna have all these tariffs. Can we have an exception, please?
Right. And then, so the new U.S.-China Board of Trade is considering allowing up to $30 billion worth of Chinese products to enter the U.S. tariff-free. Now, I had a thought about this when I was reading these notes and looking into this. I can only imagine how crazy that's going to get, because if they do have this $30 billion carve out, who gets what, and it's going to get divvied up? Is it going to be fair? Like, does that, because I don't know if you remember during the pandemic, we were looking at maybe the government was offering some, grants and stuff for small businesses and such. And we even looked into it maybe because we were having a little bit of a struggle at the time. And it just seemed like all the big companies, the people who didn't really need it, scarfed them all up right away. And so I'm wondering if something like that would happen with this as well. You know, like,
yeah, it's a
would
good
it, would it
question.
go to the people who needs it?
Well, the way I understand it, this is also mercurial because anything they say today they could change tomorrow. But the way I understand it is they would just basically say, okay, here's a particular class. Because Brian, have you had to deal with importing anything?
I have, but it was like a while ago now.
Right.
So I don't have any tariff. I haven't like we did stuff there in China with the battle binders, but I didn't deal on the tariff side.
Okay, but you remember probably that at some point you had to declare what is my commercial class or whatever they call it, right? You have to say, this is printed matter under over 48 pages or something like that.
Right.
Or
Yeah.
this is a board game for children between the ages of 3 and 8. They have all of these U.S. Customs codes for what type of a product it is because when the negotiators are in there figuring out what the tariffs and fees are going to be, they negotiate it for each particular class as they go. And so one of those classes is essentially board games. It's more complicated than that, but let's just say board games. So what they have to do is, this is a little fair. It is actually a little bit fair because they just say, this particular class will not have to pay the tariff. They get the lower tariff. So anybody who's doing it gets it. And if they carve out 30 billion worth of products and say the first 30 billion's not subject to tariffs, that just basically means first come, first serve.
And you know what? That would be fair. And I think for things like the board game industry, I think it's completely fair to do something like that because those industries do not exist here. You just can't do it here.
No, you can't.
Like
And the trouble is, we talked about this before, if somebody wanted to build a manufacturing facility for board games, right now, while the tariffs, okay, if they did it when the tariffs were at their highest, when they were looking at like 100% or 150% or whatever they were yelling about that week, then it might have made sense. But then the trouble is, you get a year down the line and it turns out the Supreme Court says those tariffs were unconstitutional, so now they're gone. They've just had to give back 80 billion in refunds, which, by the way, none of us got. Those all went to Walmart and
right,
Hasbro,
as usual, right?
Who had already marked up their prices, but that's a whole other story. Right. But anyways, the point is, you just don't know what's going to happen month to month. So it would be a stupid business to say, I'm going to invest millions of dollars building a factory and then find out, oh, nobody's going to use my factory because the tariffs are gone now.
Right. Yeah, 100%.
Right. So this stuff just doesn't move that fast.
Right. And it's why when people say, oh, well, it'll just fix itself, that's not always the case. I mean, sometimes yes, sometimes, but a lot of times, no, things happen for a reason. And also, there's the whole momentum thing. Once something gets moving down a certain lane, changing lanes is super difficult, especially in business.
Yeah. And so if you want to build a manufacturing facility, number one, you have to get the equipment, which, might not even be made here. So first of all, how are we going to deal with that? Maybe the equipment's all working on different electrical systems or something. It's all working on different, well, the made in China would be the better stuff in this particular case. It's working on maybe just different systems or whatever. And then let's say you get all that over. Well, who's going to run it? Because the people who used to do it here, they would pass on the knowledge to their apprentices and their next one and their next one. As soon as we stop doing it here, nobody's teaching the next generation how to do it. So now who's going to teach them?
And you know what's really scary about that? So we don't have that here, but it's going to hit China very soon. And that's going to be really scary because now we're not going to have anyone who knows how to do any of this stuff.
Well, I think the difference is, and I won't go too far down this path, but the Chinese government makes 50-year plans. And they make 10-year plans and 5-year plans. But the point is, because they have a type of government that is very stable, whether that's a good or bad thing, I'm not even going to get into that. That's
whether you like that stability or not.
Yeah, whatever. The point is, they're able to do that. They're able to make a 50-year plan, and they're pretty sure they're going to stick to it. If we made a 50-year plan, it would be the funniest thing you'd ever heard in your life.
Right. Because 2 years later, it'd be dunked.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's good. It's good to have a government that's easy to change, you know, because when things are on the wrong track, you want to get them on the right track. But it also means that if you make a plan right now for what's going to happen in a decade, yeah, that's pretty funny, buddy.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know, they've got a plan, we don't. So the point is, these guys learned.
Yeah. And it says, so last little note here. Silva is busy marketing his Made in the USA Monopoly game, but he's still making the rest of his company's board games in China, and that's not likely to change.
But, you know, I'll just say one last thing on it is, are they really going to sell more Monopoly games because they wrote Made in America on it? All the people who are going, I'm only going to buy something that's
they
made
don't
in
care.
America, but then they go to Walmart and they buy the cheapest thing because that's
Right.
what you really do.
Nobody's going to care.
Nobody's going to care.
Right.
All right. Next story.
D&D players. What do they do here? They raise millions in real life campaign against the corporate elite. All right, so we're going to be talking here about a group of folks. Comedian Brennan Lee Mulligan. Sorry, Brennan. Hosted a D&D event at Hollywood's Fonda Theater featuring, this was kind of cool, 6 Los City Council candidates fighting corporate villains. This is great. How mainstream is role playing if the candidates for office are like, yeah, okay, we'll get up there and play a role playing game.
Yeah, we got the politicians playing role-playing games. It's awesome.
That's beautiful. Now, look, it's Los Angeles City Council, so this is not exactly the U.S. Senate, right?
Right.
And it's going to be a more interesting group of people because what kind of people want to be on the Los Angeles City Council? It's not, you know, your usual folks. But still, that's really cool. We'll talk about how they raised the money and what they did with it in a second, but I'm going to go back to Count Binface.
He's winning. He's winning, by the way, so far.
Well, all right. So, all right. We talked before about Count Binface. Brian, are you following Count Binface?
Is he the guy that always runs in England all the time? Or is
Yeah,
that
and he's got a
somebody-
trash can on his head.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's great. You know, there's
He's
this
like-
tradition.
I was saying real quick, he's like the UK Vermin Supreme.
Yes, Vermin Supreme.
That's
That was
the
the
guy
name I
with
was
the
trying to
blue rooms.
remember.
Yeah.
My friend Darren is actually friends with him out in San Francisco.
Oh, awesome.
So I got to go meet Vernon Supreme sometime. I did meet the Rent is Too Damn High guy back in New York when I lived there.
Oh, that's cool.
But you know, here in America, when we get somebody like I don't remember the Rent is Too Damn High's name, but you know, when we get him or Vermin Supreme, they're funny, but they don't really.
Right. It goes nowhere.
Yeah. And in the UK, they have this great tradition of people, when it's time to count the votes, every candidate stands on the stage together and listens to the vote count together. So that's a huge incentive to run as a silly candidate, just to get on the stage. So you see, like when the coming in Prime Minister, Andy Berman, when he won his election, he was up there with a furry dressed as a fox. He was up there with Count Binface. He was up there with the leader of the monster raving loony party, and he had to, you know, shake their hand and talk to them.
And there was an Elmo, I believe, right?
There was an Elmo,
Yeah.
you know. So usually these are just they're funny, right? And a lot of times they will be up there to make a point, but the important thing is they get to make their point. So Count Binface was one of them. And it just so happened through a bunch of crazy coincidences that now this kind of proto Oswald Mosley guy named Nigel Farage, who pulled a bunch of shenanigans, caused an election to happen. All the other candidates said, we're not running against you. We're not going to dignify this with a real election. So it turned out the only person he had to run against was Count Binface. And then now it's looking, okay, so here's the thing. It's a local election. The only people who can vote on it are the people in Clacton, in that area. So the national polls say that Count Binface should win, but the national people don't get to vote in Clacton. So it's a question of, will the people of Clacton vote for Binface or Farage? But, you know, in the Houses of Parliament, in the House of Commons, during Prime Minister's questions, the leader of the Conservative Party, the opposition party, got up and asked Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister, who he wanted to win. And Keir Starmer said, put your vote in the bin.
Oh, nice. That's
And
awesome.
another like major politician got up and he said, I'm sorry, but I just cannot support joke candidates with unserious platforms, and that's why I'm supporting Count Binface.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So, I mean, who knows what could be. So here, getting back to this story, we've got a bunch of politicians who want to run for office, and they're doing it by running in a Dungeons and Dragons campaign, or maybe Daggerheart. I don't know what they were actually playing. No, D&D. And it was really cool. So they got up there and they actually were like fighting the corporate villains. And these guys who may or may not have ever played a game before had to do this. And it raised about 30 million, or sorry, oh my gosh, wouldn't that be amazing? 30,000.
Awesome, 30,000, right?
It's just a bunch of zeros.
Yeah, it's extra zeros, whatever.
But anyway, they raised about $30,000. But the thing is, this has been happening in a lot of different places. You know, these actual play podcasts and various things. We've raised money for charity through running games. You ran, what was the name of the game? Ragnarok.
Oh, yeah, it was Operation Ragnarok. Yep.
There you go. I'm feeding you your lines.
Sorry.
Yeah, and so kind of similar thing. So they're running the game, and in our game, you had people. Well, explain how it worked. People paying money.
This was for extra. This was Extra Life, and so
what were we doing for kids in the hospitals, or what was it?
No, it was. I think it was for kids in a hospital.
Let's say it was.
Yeah, sure. I didn't at the time. I didn't care. It was for charity. I just did it, and it was in James's name. So, basically, what I was doing was running a campaign, or not a campaign. Sorry, running an adventure at a convention, and it was me and Mary. So we had two different tables, and both the tables of players were at the same event. So we had to like coordinate with each other. And then we had, on top of that, if that wasn't stressful enough, we had people putting money in every like 10 minutes to make things happen in the game. So like, for example, at the big climax this is the best example. The big climax, this zombie lich Hitler comes out on a T-Rex because that's who they're trying to stop. And someone put in money to make sure that the zombie Tyrannosaurus that he was riding had laser eyes. So I had to like adjust every 5 minutes or so with something or another, but it was really cool. It was a lot of fun. Everybody really enjoyed it. People actually applauded at the end, that's the first time I've ever had that happen at the end of a camp or an adventure. But we raised a bunch of money, several $100 just for that game alone. But it was just really cool to be able to do something like that.
Yeah, it was cool. And so they did a similar thing here on stage. The folks in the crowd would pledge donations to help the players, do a auto crit against the dragon, or maybe to have something bad happen to them.
Yeah.
And they raised $30,000 with the audience being like, I want this to happen next.
Mm-hmm.
And what's cool is that over time, this sort of stuff has done a lot. This particular initiative run by Jess Wade has raised over $1.1 million in the past few years.
Nice.
And this nonprofit overall, the Critical Role Foundation, have raised $5 million for charitable causes. In this case, it was, to help candidates who were running to help marginalized communities in the real world. But the charities have been all sorts of different things. And it's amazing to see how this kind of gaming has gotten so mainstream that it can raise millions of dollars by having a good time.
Yeah. And the best part is this isn't like elite people, with big checkbooks being able to, it's little, like the regular folks, everyday folks, right? And they're putting in a little bit, but it all adds up. And that's the beauty of it. If you only have $10 to give, that's fine. Because if there's 1,000 of you, that's 10,000, so it all adds up, and it's really for good cause. It's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I get fundraising appeals every now and then from various places saying, give money to this, give money to that. And, if it's a cause I care about, I will. But when it's something that has interactivity and fun with it, it's just going to be more effective, right?
Yeah.
So I could imagine if you're in the crowd and you see this stuff happening, it's kind of like when you're at an auction, like you get kind of swept up in the excitement of it all, and you're like, oh yes, I bid more, I bid more.
Yeah.
Same kind of thing here. Yeah, let's give more to the cause. Yeah,
because you're not just donating money, you're actually interacting. So like, for example, when whoever it was that paid the money for the laser eyes out of the T-Rex, right? They were standing there. They got to see that happen, and they were as happy as could be. So that is is an excellent like two-way thing. Like not only are they contributing and having a good time, but they're inspired to by the events that are going on. So I think it generally draws more money because people are like, they're getting something out of it. It's like, hey, I spent this money, I got to do a good thing, but I also had a lot of fun too. So that's really cool. It's a win-win.
Yeah. And I think what's kind of cool is, all right, so a game like D&D, very structured. Maybe I don't know how much the average DM is used to being able to really just go off the seat of their pants and do it. They did a pretty good job with it. But I'm thinking about the other kind of games that would do well with this, and I'm going to go back to Neon Lords here on this one.
Oh yeah.
Because I mean, Brian, I've seen you do some pretty improvisational, amazing ideas in games before. I just think this would be perfect for a game like yours.
Yeah, we did usually every year. Last year I didn't get to do it, but usually we do it's like Crawl for the Cure. Corey Welch puts it on for the American Cancer Society, I believe we donate to every year. It's like all day gaming, and then we're the last. We're like the midnight to 3 a.m, like late show. And
You are
then,
like the late show. That's perfect.
Right.
Yeah, and then and people pay in, and then they throw ideas exactly like that, or like you can cause them to crit, cause them to fumble, and all that stuff.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I could totally see that.
You know what we should
anyways,
do, Jason and Brian? You know what we should do? We honestly, I'm not making any promises here. Anybody who's listening to this, I'm just throwing this out there because we're talking about it right now. We should do some kind of analog union charity run.
Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we totally should. Yeah, because we've got a lot of cool people in it, and we have this new idea called, or not idea, new thing we're doing called Friends of the Union, because not everybody, has something to do all the time, and we just, bring them in occasionally. So there's a big wide net that's getting spread. There's a lot of people we could get involved with that. So
Yeah.
I like that idea. I think as we grow, we will do that. So hey, if you go to Analog Union and subscribe to the newsletter, the bigger it gets, the more incentive we have to do these things.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So let's move on.
Okay, so let's do
Pathfinder.
All right, so Pathfinder. So Pathfinder may be in trouble. We don't know, but there's a lot of reasons to be concerned. So the Mortismo Gaming YouTube channel did a story on this, and their story was a little more like, Pathfinder is in trouble. But
yeah, they were going for clicks. They were going for clicks.
I would say watch, it's Mortismal Gaming channel. So watch that because that's where we got the story from. So, I like to give credit where credit's due. We took some stuff from that and then we added some stuff to it. So anyway, they say that this video discusses the challenging financial and operational situations currently facing Paizo and explains, kind of the future of where the new Pathfinder video game looks increasingly unlikely.
Which I'm not crying about that.
I'm not. Yeah, I kind of personally, I would rather role playing games.
Well, look, if a video game gets people to play Pathfinder, then that's cool.
Right, right.
Because I mean, look, Pathfinder is just a great game. So if people get to playing it, okay, great.
Yeah. So here's the issues. So in early 2025, we've talked about this before. Diamond Comic Distributors had this. They kind of screwed so many people. Paizo was one of the ones they really screwed. They were so Paizo was unable to access about $10 million worth of physical inventory for over a year.
Wow.
Now, you might think Paizo is really big, and they are big in this industry, but
compared to us, they're big.
Compared to us, they're big.
But not compared to Wizards.
Yeah, compared to Wizards, they're nothing. I mean, in size, not in concept or content, but I think I forget what the numbers are, but they fired 10%,
12 people, and it was a huge percentage.
Yeah, and it was a chunk of their people, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, so they were unable to get $10 million worth of their physical product. That is horrible for them. And it led to millions of dollars in losses and subsequent layoffs in June. And then effective June 24th, 2026, they terminated their longstanding license with Archives of Nethes. And this is a website.
Let's stop here a second. So, because I'm not a Pathfinder player, and Brian, do you know anything about Archives of Nethes?
No, nothing about it.
Okay, I mean, I know this is. I feel bad here because if there's Pathfinder fans watching or listening, this is probably a big thing for you, and I get it, but I need to learn.
Right. So yeah, and I'm not a big Pathfinder. I'm not a Pathfinder player at all. But apparently they had like a hand in hand deal. They were working with them, and they were like a big part of the community. And Pathfinder had to cut ties, supporting that. And they said it's because they weren't getting little to no royalty revenue from this. Now,
Yeah, I understood they didn't actually ever get any, even though they were promised that they would.
Right. Now, you might think, well, okay, so they're not making money, so they can't support it. Well, here's the thing: there are legal implications. There are things that Paizo has to do when they're officially working with someone else, and that generates a cost. And because they weren't getting anything to cover it, and now they're hurting on money really bad, they had to make a lot of hard decisions. So I'm sure this was not an easy decision for them. I'm sure this isn't something that they wanted to do or are happy about it in any way. It's probably just something like, we have to do this. At least that's what it seems to me. I don't know. I'm not on the inside. No idea. But that would be my guess. So they said that, the partnership is not worth it to them. But they have completely been fine with letting the Archives of Nethys continue to operate as a free fan resource under the Paizo's community user policy. Now here's a quote that I found from Paizo. It says, "We come to you today with some bad news. For nearly 8 years," oh, sorry, not from Paizo, from Nethys, my bad. "For nearly 8 years, we here at Archives of Nethys have been a licensed partner of Paizo Publishing and have proudly served the community as an official reference for all of Paizo's game systems. A few weeks ago, Paizo sent us an email stating that our partnership has been terminated effective July 24th. So that's what's going on with that particular part of this story.
But that doesn't mean they're gone.
They're not gone. No, they're not gone. They're still doing their thing. Paizo is still supporting them.
They just don't get some of the perks, like the early access to things and
right.
Yeah.
Right.
So people who are Pathfinder players who use Archives of Nethys, I'm assuming they still can, right?
Yeah, they totally can. And Paizo's not pulling any rights or anything like that. They're just not officially connected to them anymore in any way. So
I will say right off the bat, that's a lot better than the way that Wizards acts, because so I was working for Wizards as a client. They were my client. I wasn't ever employed by Wizards. I want to make that really clear. So I had them as a client. I was working on some products for Magic the Gathering, some tech stuff. I didn't do anything with the game. I was building some tech stuff for them. And so I was watching a lot about everything they were doing, and I was watching as they had all of these third-party things that people had built for Magic the Gathering and that people loved, and they were relying on it to make their game more fun, and Wizards was like, this is bad. It has our trademark. We don't like anybody doing things for us except us. And they just cut them off with no warning, with no explanation, with no anything. And the fan community got all up in arms and mad. And then they didn't do anything because they still want to play Magic. And Wizards just like, we can do whatever we want. We can throw people in the cold. Entire businesses got destroyed because Wizards just, didn't care. They were just like, we're out of here. So what Paizo's, they're acting a lot better than that. They're not killing anybody's business here. No. They're just doing what they have to do. I mean, it's tough. They're having tough times. So here's some impacts on the video game. There are licensing hurdles. Given Paizo's current instability, the creator believes it is this is the guy doing the video, improbable that they will secure new high-profile licensing deals for video games in the near future. He also stated that there are 3 Pathfinder/Starfinder projects currently in development. There's Pathfinder Abomination Vaults, Pathfinder The Dragon's Demand, and an unnamed Starfinder project. These are relatively niche titles and suggest their performance will likely be insufficient to spark further major game adaptations. And that's the core of this guy's video and what he said about all this. Yeah. So I did a little more digging, and here's a little bit more information on this. So Pathfinder officially reported loss of nearly $2 million alongside an additional $500,000 write-off in lost sales. Diamond filed for bankruptcy following the collapse. JP Morgan Chase claimed a legal lien on all products stored in Diamond's warehouse, leaving roughly $10 million worth of Paizo's physical inventory completely inaccessible.
And then a judge, here's the 1, 2, 3 punch. A judge terminated Diamond's exclusive contract so Paizo could shift to a new distributor, Independent Publishers Group. However, Diamond appealed the decision, dragging out the legal proceedings and bottlenecking Paizo's.
Why would they do this?
Because they're assholes.
Well, I mean, I don't know because, I mean, yeah, probably. I don't know, but so here's the deal, right? So Brian, I don't know how much you've ever had to deal directly with distributors. Do you ever deal with that crap?
No, I've been fortunate to have a middleman every single time. Like we're in distribution, but I was with Goodman first, and then now Exalted does all that stuff. Yeah,
Exalted Funeral, they're great.
Yeah.
But so imagine this. So you've given all your stuff to a distributor. Now, Exalted Funeral's good guys. They're not going to pull some crap on you. But let's say you gave all your stuff to Diamond and they said, we're going to sell it to the stores and we're going to give you your money and all the stuff we're supposed to do. And then they go belly up and you say, well, can I have my stuff back? No, this is ours now. Well, hold on a second. What are you going to do with my stuff? Because you've got, lots of my product. Oh, we're going to, liquidate it at the best price we can, meaning they're going to sell it on the open market for like 10% of the cover price. Right. So now you're trying to sell a copy of Neon Lords for how much does a book go for?
Like $25, $30.
So, all right. So you say just $25 for a book. And then the person's like, well, actually it's at the dollar store right now for $2.
Yeah.
Who are they going to buy it from?
Right. They're going to go buy it the cheapest they possibly can. And
that's what Diamond's doing here. They're like, well, we're going to sell all your stuff for 10 cents on the dollar. So not only do you not get the money for the stuff that you gave them, but now you're not even selling your own books because they're selling your stuff at the dollar store.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
And it's got to hurt your brand too, because if somebody's like, oh, Pathfinder's at the dollar store, it must not be very good.
Right.
Hey, Jason, real quick. What is the link to the Analog Union?
Oh, yeah. So Matt was asking, I like this. I like when we have our non-American listeners. Basically, everyone except America knows how to spell the word analog.
Right.
But Analog Union is spelled the Freedom way. And Peter, I don't know. You've got access to the chat and I don't. For whatever reason, I can't type in the chat. So just put analogunion.com in the chat so people can go there and get up the free newsletter. And you know what? You can read the old newsletters.
Yeah.
And you can, if you go to the About Us, you can see us all as superheroes.
Yes, you can.
Brian, what is your superhero?
I think I'm like a Terminator.
Right. And
but I don't remember the name on it, if there's a superhero name.
And what's your superhero look like, Peter?
I'm kind of like the Thing. I'm like a big brick looking.
Right.
It's made out of like stones.
That's right. It's Brian Larkin. That's the Swamp Thing. And I just have myself up there as sort of a Constantine type. I'm just there with my drink.
Right.
Yeah. You could have did you as Stan Lee,
Oh
yeah.
I don't know if you're calling me old or cool, but I'll take it.
No, it's like
I'm
the cool.
Yeah, and it's fun. You can go see all that stuff. So analogunion.com. We'd love to see you there, and I'll put a link to the Reddit subreddit up. You know what? If you go to that Analog Union link, just look at the latest newsletter. There's a link to the subreddit in it.
Right. All right. So here's a couple of last things. We'll finish the story up. So Paizo. So here's like when we say they might be in trouble. Well, they might not. They're companies hit hard times, and a lot of times they come out of it. So here's what they're doing. So in coordination with the United Paizo Workers Union, they did lay off 12 of their employees. And like we said before, that's 10% of their workforce. Like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Using a reverse seniority protocol. So then
first in, first out, basically.
Yeah, basically. Pathfinder and Starfinder Society scenario releases are being cut back to once per month to stem losses on programs that were underperforming. They have paused the creation of new Foundry VTT modules for organized play and has ended its long-term commercial partnership with rules indexing site Archives of Net, which we just talked about, because it arranges to fail generate meaningful royalties. And then lastly, from Paizo's website, so the company, though the company is in a tight spot, leadership stresses that these cuts are an effort to protect the company's long-term survival, not a total shutdown. Direct sales via Paizo's web store and local hobby shops actually grew over the same period, indicating the brand remains fundamentally popular.
Yeah, I think that's the real story here, is that people love Pathfinder. They want to see it survive. They're going through some crap right now. And you know, I hate, I almost said trimming the fat, but that's such a horrible phrase. They're looking at where they're spending their money and going, hold on a second, should our money really be going to this place that isn't bringing more in, because they are a business. Right. So the difference between this and something like what TSR went through in their final days or whatever is that these guys are run by adults who know what they're doing, who understand business, who know how to make the money, and who know how to make sure that the Pathfinder books keep coming to people. So the best thing you can do as a gamer, if you love Pathfinder, is just buy more Pathfinder stuff.
And here's one thing I'm going to add to that, Jason, is that this is the difference between a friggin' corporation and a privately held business. So Paizo is still a private business. They're not incorporated. They're not a public company. Mm-hmm. They don't have to make the shareholders the most profit no matter what goes on. They can actually make decisions based upon, you know, ethics and morality, and, you know, so they can make cuts and they can do all the stuff they can to try and stay in business, but they don't have to like slit the throats of people just to make as much profit as possible. So
yeah, you know, look, I've said before that when you all elect me king of the world, one of the rules I'm going to make is that companies have to have a maximum size. You know, we'll figure out what it is. Is it 1,000 employees, 5,000 employees? I don't know, but keep it small enough that you can actually make decisions that make the best products and make the best companies, and not these ridiculous conglomerates that have 1 million employees and don't even notice what they're doing when they do it.
Right. And you can't possibly call them to get customer support, because that's the thing that pisses me off the most. All right, let's go to the next story.
Let's go to the next story. All right, so this is pretty cool. Let's see here. Can you go to the picture of? Do you have the picture I had of all the books up?
I do.
I want to show that first. Let's go to that one first.
I can't.
You're giving away all the goodies at the first. Okay, there we go. Ooh, now it's a mystery. Pretend you all didn't see that last picture. All right. So, come back with me, if you will, to the year 1974, or maybe 1975 or 76. I'm not good with my history, but I know Dungeons and Dragons started in 1974. So we go back. Woo! Everybody ready for the time machine? Go like this. Yeah. Woo, woo, woo. Now it's 1974. A middle-aged man named Gary Gygax and a bunch of young folks have decided to make a game called Dungeons and Dragons, and it comes out in a little brown box with 3 little books in it: Men and Magic, Monsters and Treasures, and the third one, Wilderness Adventures. And they quickly started putting out supplements after that. So you buy the box with the first 3 books, and then out comes supplement number 1, Greyhawk, by Gary Gygax and Rob Kuntz. Now, Rob Kuntz was a family friend of the Gygaxes. They were all living in Lake Geneva, doing their thing, being cool, hanging out, playing games. And so when Gary decided to start this Dungeons and Dragons thing with Dave Arneson, leave me alone, he naturally worked with people he knew, and Rob was like family to him. So Rob was a great intellect and wrote some cool stuff. So Rob Kuntz helped write the first supplement to D&D, Greyhawk. And then the second supplement comes out, Blackmore, Dave Arneson, you know, the guy who actually created the concept in the first place that Gary turned into something. Mm-hmm. And then the third supplement comes out, Eldritch Wizardry. Now we have Gary Gygax and oh my gosh, Bloom. Anyways, next Eldritch Wizardry comes out. And then the fourth one comes out. Now we have Swords and Spells. And now it's time for the 5th supplement by Rob Kuntz, Calibrun. What? I've never heard of Calibrun. What's that?
I've never heard of it before either.
What is this? Because it never came out. So Rob had been working on this thing called Calibrun that was supposed to be supplement number 5. But anybody who's spent some time looking at the history of TSR and D&D knows that it was a crazy chaotic time at the beginning. And sometimes personalities clashed, people fell out, but it was all so young and new that it didn't seem like it was that consequential. So by early 1976, Rob Kuntz left TSR. And we don't need to go into all the reasons. There were reasons, but you got to remember these were young folks. People are it's just like when a band loses a member, after their second album. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with anyone. It's just hard to keep a band together. So he left, and he had been working on the supplement Caliburn, and it was never published. It was just gone. And AD&D comes on the scene a year later, and now the age of these supplements is over. Dungeons and Dragons supplement Caliburn, supplement 5 Caliburn was lost. And that's it. Forget about it. So end of story, right? No, boys and girls. It goes on, and a few years. This is one of those kind of like legendary lost books, right? And a few years back, Rob Kuntz, who has been in the gaming world and writing things and doing stuff ever since, showed up. This is maybe a decade ago, and said, "Actually, I'm gonna make the notes available for it." And so he went on Noble Knight, and he sold a copy of his handwritten note, or not hand typewritten notes or whatever, and he explained kind of what it was, and he said, this is a manuscript, and it's got it's like Greyhawk and Blackmoor. It's the third setting. So the first setting for D&D was Greyhawk. The second setting was Blackmoor. The third setting was going to be Caliburn. And it included a new class of magic user, something we had never seen before and still haven't seen. Variant spell casting system. So maybe it's not going to be Vancian. Who knows? A list of new spells specific to this class. And here we go. On the screen now, we see on the left-hand side sort of a mock-up of what Caliburn was supposed to look like. A list of new spells. Some variant rules for ability scores and saving throws. A variant combat procedure from 1976. Oh, shit. New magic item tables and descriptions. Various comments on his own campaign setting. Poison rules, new character classes, scroll magic system, and other enhancements to D&D. 54 pages that were pared down to produce a 20-page type manuscript that was to be submitted to TSR. Now that manuscript was never published, and so he sold the notes, and I think he sold them for like $3,000 or something. And that would have been the end of the story. And we see some pretty cool stuff here up on the screen right now. Other stuff that Rob has done. So Rob has gone on to create his own publishing company, and they've been putting out things that he did for early D&D and newer stuff like Castle El Rajaki, etc. And but Rob has talked with people about it. So there's a bunch of forums where old school grognards go and talk, and one of the big ones is Dragonfoot. Another one is N-World. People who have been on Dragon's Foot. Brian, I don't know. Did you ever go on Dragon's Foot, or were you an old school first edition player?
No, I got into it in second edition.
Okay, so I think there's some stuff there, but Dragon's Foot, it's kind of, I would almost call it a legendary forum, because it's where Gary Gygax would hang out and post all the time. And just
Tim Kask too was a big part of it. Mincer, right?
Tim Mincer. I mean, that's how I got back into gaming. I met a guy on Dragon's Foot, and we decided to start a podcast together called Roll for Initiative. And, that got me back into the gaming world, and it led to doing all this crap. So it's a great place. Rob on one of these forums came in, and he talked about, because somebody came in and they had a bunch of, Caliburn was this and Caliburn was that. And Rob's like, hi, I actually wrote it, and here's what it really was. And he said, this is Rob's words here, I built World of Caliburn, unlike what Greyhawk or Blackmoor were to become, from the top down. I threw out all of the genericism associated with the game. All new monsters, magic, spells, and by expanding ranges, types, and naturalistic cultural aspects for the same. Flora, fauna, deities, etc. I integrated content at holistic levels rather than mash up generic elements, just as Tolkien and M.A.R. Barker had done. These two authors are my models. Not now. I want to point out he didn't know anything about what M.A.R. Barker would later turn out to be like, so don't blame him. Not Greyhawk or generic FRP tropes, elements that still informs the mass. Okay, so you can kind of hear in his words a little bit of resentment, maybe. And so this whole time, I mean, the question is, if he had submitted it, would Gary have looked at this and said, "You've changed my game. I'm not publishing this"? I don't know. I mean, did that have something to do with him leaving in '76?
And
I
could
don't
it be?
know.
And could it be something like, so? You know, I know what it's like to be intricate in something, and and you understand that it's going to make sense. It's going to be this awesome thing, and then people just kind of brush you aside because for whatever reasons, whether it's just just brushing you aside because they don't like you, or because other things just take precedence. But I know how that feels when you've been brushed aside.
Yeah.
And you have something valid. Like you're not just some nobody who has nothing.
No,
to
Rob
bring.
is a brilliant game
Right.
designer.
But like I'm saying, you have something to offer, and you've been in the system, and you know that this is going to be a good thing. And people go, yeah, never mind. And you're just like, what do you mean, never mind? What the hell? And I could see where you could get bitter about that, and it's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Yeah.
get it.
And remember, this is a bunch of people in a small town in Wisconsin in the 70s where you don't have the world looking at you. It's kind of like being the best punk rock band in Kalispell, Montana.
Right. Exactly.
It's like, okay, how much is this going to matter to the world? And so you might just eventually say, screw you guys, I'm out of here. And so, maybe we lost a lot of really cool stuff. I mean, we're looking right now. So he's calling it the Worlds of Calibran. We have a map up on the screen right now called the Lands of the Sunken City. It is peak 1980 metalhead high schooler drawing in his notebook stuff.
Yeah, it is.
And I mean
awesome.
that in the best way.
Dude, no, this is awesome. This is great.
Yeah. This is the kind of campaign I want to play in.
Yeah.
Where he's colored the seas with his blue colored pencil.
Yeah, that's great.
It was beautiful. So anyway, for whatever reason, this has been popping up now. So in the OSR subreddit, somebody said, "Hey, Rob Kuntz is going to be finally publishing Calibran." And I went in and I'm like, "Dude, where'd you get this? What's your source?" He's like, "Look at his Twitter," or his X, whatever.
Right, whatever.
So I looked at his Twitter. I'm like, well, he's kind of saying stuff about it. And earlier tonight, before this podcast, I was on the radio with John Johnson, who has a radio show here in Connecticut, and he knows all about this stuff. He knows Rob. So he's like, yeah, I asked Rob some stuff about it, and I kind of got some answers. I guess the point is, it's still a little bit unclear exactly what's going on here. Rob does have his own publishing company, so maybe he's decided to put it out himself. Maybe he's made a deal with somebody else. He made some references in his Twitter post to a 3-hour conversation with somebody. We just don't know exactly. I don't think here's what I don't think is going on. I don't think this is a situation where this particular work was locked up in like copyright battles or anything like that. I don't think Gail Gygax was sitting on it and saying, I own this, because she wouldn't. This wasn't Gary Gygax's work.
Right. There's no Gygax name on this or anything.
It wasn't published by TSR. It was never put out. So as far as I know, the only person who's ever got any claim to the rights would be Rob Kuntz. Now, maybe somewhere in there's a little bit of a dispute over, is he allowed to say this is the lost TSR Dungeons and Dragons 5th supplement? Because Wizards could say you can't say that. I don't think, knowing Rob as little as I do, I'm not friends with him. I'm not going to pretend that, that. But I mean, knowing him from conventions, I don't think that he's been having deep legal, negotiations with the Hasbro lawyers. So I'm not even going to speculate on what it was that kept it from coming out all these years or why he's doing it now. But all we'll say is apparently he is going to publish it, not just his notes, but the actual, it's been a thing that he's been working on doing. And so if this comes out and if you can buy it, you will, the gaming world, have the opportunity to buy Supplement 5 for the original D&D box set that came out before anything else and see what was intended in 1976 to be the next version of the D&D world.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Yeah,
So
it's like oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. No.
you.
Well, it's happening in the comic world too right now with John Byrne's X-Men Elsewhere.
What's going on?
So after I believe the Phoenix Saga, they Marvel kicked John Byrne off to I think Fantastic Four at that point. And in the early 2000s, someone asked him like, "What would you do with the X-Men after the Phoenix Saga?" And he did a couple pages here and there, and then it ended up turning into a fan fiction of a lot of issues. And Marvel picked it up and they put the first book out, so you can read it as if John Byrne from like the 80s wrote it then, but he did it like now.
You know, Brian, that would be very interesting for me because
Yeah.
I'll tell you, that's when I started reading X-Men was right after the Phoenix Saga. So right when like they bring in the Brood and like the Starjammers and all that stuff.
Yeah.
That happens right after the Phoenix Saga, and that's when I started reading X-Men. So it would be interesting to see what it would have been like if I had started reading then. You know, like if it had gone a different direction, the alternate universe.
Yep. Yeah, it's so cool to think about like how like that came to be after all these years.
Amazing. That's a perfect analog.
Yeah.
To this.
All right. Let's go to the next story. Our last news story.
Yeah.
So
Penultimate story.
Yeah. So Backerkit has recently announced that it's partnering with DrivethruRPG, and that is actually pretty damn cool.
Is that good? I don't know. Why is that good?
Okay. So what this is going to do, I mean, primarily, this is going to be primarily on the PDF side. So, and Jason, we're going through this right now. I have to, I was going to do it this weekend. I got too busy. I'm going to do it this week. I'll probably start it tomorrow. So when you have a backer kit or a Kickstarter, in this case, it'd be Backerkit because they're with Drivethru. But when you have any kind of like, marketing thing, what's it called? Fulfillment. Goddamn. Crowdfunding. Goddamn. Can't think tonight. When you have a crowdfunding thing.
Is it crowdfunding?
It is crowdfunding. So when you have a crowdfunding thing, you have physical rewards, but a lot of times people have PDF type rewards, like your electronic stuff. So like, for example, we have the Tradecraft guide, and then all the like little add-ons that we sold as well. So there are different adventures and stuff like that we threw on as add-ons. We offer those as PDFs as well. So if you buy the physical product, you automatically get the PDF. But I have to do that manually. I have to send these PDFs to everybody because we don't have any way of doing that automatically. What this would do, if we had done this through Backerkit and they had been partnered with Drivethru, it would have happened automatically. I wouldn't have to do anything. We could have set it up ahead of time. Nice. So that when they bought the physical products, they'd still have to wait for them to arrive, but the whole PDF, the electronic side, would already be taken care of through Drivethru, wouldn't have to do anything. So that's what they've done. They're fulfilling that piece with Backerkit, which I think is really, really awesome. That is fantastic. It's good for the people, who are backing. Good for the creators as well, because it's less work that you have to do. But ultimately, it's really good for the backers because they get their stuff right away. It's automated. So what this will do is, it streamlines the process, and backers don't have to wait. So that's really awesome.
Well, and I think also what it's really doing is it's further cementing the idea that DrivethruRPG is the standard place to get your PDFs.
Yeah, and I was reading somewhere that that's almost a monopoly at this point, which,
well,
almost.
Well, you got Itch.
Itch. You do.
Well, the trouble with Itch is I never know whether to call it Itch or Itch.io.
Right. Yeah.
I just call it Itch, I think. Maybe I'm even saying it wrong, but I just say Itch.
So
And then
how do you
there was another
deal
one,
with
wasn't there?
your digital deliveries?
Well, I was waiting for you to end because there is a wrench in this article as well, because Kickstarter now lets you do digital uploads right to your Kickstarter.
That's right.
What?
Well,
Yeah.
so here's the weird thing, right?
Wait a minute.
So we
They do?
just did the Tradecraft manual, which I'll hold up here. Ooh, it's fat.
You might have not made it into it. Sorry, but go
There
ahead.
you go. Show it again real quick.
There we go. So Tradecraft manual. So
Ooh,
hey,
yeah.
Kickstarter backers, this is what's coming your way soon. Woo, woo, woo.
Beautiful.
Woo.
It's pretty. Yes.
Look at all that pretty color. Ooh. Anyway, so as soon as we had the PDF ready, we just went and I went and I did the update and I said, okay, PDF's ready, and I just uploaded it to Kickstarter, and everybody was apparently notified that they could just download the PDF right away.
Yep.
Now, I don't know what the whole user experience, customer experience is like for that. I don't know if that was good or bad, but theoretically, that's all you got to do, and it's just there. You don't have to go and create an account on DrivethruRPG to get it or download whatever. So to Brian's point, if Kickstarter is making it that easy, then maybe Backerkit ought to make it that easy too, and they don't need to go to DrivethruRPG.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's more so. This is like, your mileage may vary, but this is my opinion on all this, right? So like, Kickstarter owns the crowdfunding name. You know, you go.
Yeah,
say,
they're
oh,
the Kleenex, the Xerox,
the Band-Aid of it, right?
The Band-Aid, yeah.
I think it's mutually beneficial for Drivethru and Backerkit to team up to go against Kickstarter to kind of like take a little chip away, because Backerkit wants to be the crowdfunding campaign for role-playing games.
They want, they don't want to be the RC Cola. They want to be the Pepsi.
Right.
Yeah,
and
100%.
And well, not only that, but Backerkit wants to be. I think they really want to focus on the RPG, whereas Kickstarter doesn't give a shit about whether RPG,
you
computer,
like
or
a solar powered foot massager or something.
Right.
See, the big thing that's hurting Kickstarter right now, I don't know, but it feels to me like Kickstarter lets a lot of projects on there that I don't think should be on there.
Agreed.
Agreed.
It's not curated at all.
Yeah, somebody goes and they're like, I have invented a personal fan that goes around your neck. And you're like, no, you haven't. There's 45 Chinese factories that'll pump this out on Amazon right now. Like, no, I've invented it and it's on Kickstarter.
Right.
Yeah.
And they allow it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, if enough of that slop gets up there, Kickstarter's going to get hurt.
Slop. I love it.
I think it's because because Backerkit is such a little team that they can go and look at all of them faster, or not faster, but more in depth than Kickstarter can.
It does feel like Backerkit cares more about you when you create a campaign.
Well, that's the give and take that like everybody talks about in this side of, like the industry side is the stupidest way to say it, but people who make stuff, right?
Yeah.
Is that Backerkit, you're not going to get the foot traffic, you're not at all, that Kickstarter does. And your backers are primarily your main core audience, but Backerkit treats you better and they help you out more. As of Kickstarter, you're gonna get foot traffic to come and back you, just sight on scene, or scene on site type thing. But they are more along the lines of cold and like you have something you just get an automated customer response type thing.
Right.
Yeah, no, if you got a problem with Kickstarter, you're kind of on your own.
Yeah.
Even in the early days, the way we were able to get more help is because we knew somebody worked there. I mean, that's kind of what it came down to.
That helps a lot.
And now we don't anymore. But I don't even know if the foot traffic thing makes that big of a difference, because I've never seen the numbers to show whether Kickstarter I don't think we've ever gotten any significant traffic on Kickstarter based on the fact that they put us on the front page or something.
Yeah, I think with our crowd and what I've seen, we might do just as well in Backerkit as we would ever do on Kickstarter.
We're gonna find out. We're doing our next campaign on Backerkit to see what it's like.
Yeah.
But so Brian, who have you used?
Both. I've used both of them.
Mm-hmm. So
what are your thoughts? What do you think?
So that's the problem is I did backer. Well, I like Kickstarter better. I feel like I got way more traction, more views on everything, and I should probably compare because I mean you can see where everybody's coming from.
Yeah.
And I did get like I was shocked that I was actually getting hits from just like looking at it, but then again, it's apples to oranges too because on Backerkit I did supplemental books, and obviously those will never do as good as the core book, right? So like the latest one I did on Kickstarter was the Morkborg, the Neon Bastard, so the Morkborg conversion. So it's an actual full game. So it's hard to compare on that sense of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like Kickstarter definitely has the edge when it comes to like the traffic and the people seeing your and Kickstarter is like we said the band-aid. So people who generally won't back anything would be more inclined to back on Kickstarter because the name recognition's there.
Yeah, I think that's a big deal. It's the credibility, right?
Right.
And maybe it's also just the fact that I've already got a Kickstarter account. It's a lot easier
Also
to back
true,
it there.
yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that's
we're gonna find out.
Yeah,
I have heard that a lot from people about they're like, oh, well, I don't have a Backerkit. And it's like, well, you probably do because you backed or kickstarted this, then Backerkit's been around and you have to explain it to them. And it's just like, well,
and we talked about this before. Backerkit is only in this business now of they're only in competition with Kickstarter because Kickstarter decided to take their model away from them. So Kickstarter added all the stuff that Backerkit was going to do. So Backerkit had a choice: go out of business or go against Kickstarter.
Yeah,
I
totally
they had no
get
choice.
And
but it's kind of like, oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say the thing I'll say about Backerkit is that I don't know much about the people who run Kickstarter. I don't know what they're like. I don't know what they think of me or what they think of our game industry. But Backerkit, when I lived in the Bay Area in California, San Francisco, they would throw local events, and they had a monthly demo night. You could come down and do play testing on your demo game. They weren't getting anything out of it. They just were backing the community, and we went down there a bunch of times as we had stuff we were working on, and we just play tested it with other people at a Backerkit event, and they gave us some drinks and some food, and they were just nice people. I like that.
No, that's awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's just the communist in me, but I like to work with little small businesses. I like to work with people I know.
Yeah. That's where like that's the total like rubber meets the road is like I want to do all that too, but I also need to keep the lights on, right? So I want to maximize people actually seeing the game, because I want
right, because there's a lot of things out there where they can do great stuff for you if you bring your audience. Well, but I mean, how am I going to bring my audience? Can't you help me with that? So we'll see.
All right, so just to wrap this up, it says notes I have here for backers, there is no additional setup required other than signing into DrivethruRPG to get your reward. System can also send you notifications when digital content is available as the Backerkit campaign progresses. And also, it seems like the partnership between Backerkit and DrivethruRPG is a win for both companies as well as the community. And Backerkit has continued to expand their support of the tabletop gaming space with a number of new tools, even as their rival Kickstarter has faced backlash over some of their more restrictive content policies.
Oh, I forgot about that. That's a whole nother thing.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, look, this is a huge win for DrivethruRPG because it just reinforces you have to go create an account there if you want to get the stuff you already paid for. You already paid for it. You want to get it, go create an account in yet another place if you don't have one.
Right.
I don't know why I don't feel super positive about DrivethruRPG. They've never done anything bad to us. They give us money every month. Why don't I love them?
Yeah.
I don't know. Anytime something is too powerful, it makes me a little suspicious.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, I get you.
What are you gonna say?
No, it's nothing. Go ahead. I got one thing I got to remind me. I got to tell you about Drive.
Do it now. Do it now.
Oh, it's a complete like.
Let's
yeah.
go. I'm
Yeah,
about to get myself.
We're done with this story
Look,
anyway.
If you
Okay,
don't take me on a different direction, I'm going to get in trouble with DrivethruRPG. So
All
save
right.
us.
Well, I'm going to give you. So I will say a lot of things, a lot of positive about.
This is
Drive.
how far down my drink is. I'm about to
Right.
say something that's going to get me in trouble. So you save me.
I did talk to them face to face at Origins, right? And then like they said, "Oh yeah, we know about Neon Lords," but like I'm sure they say that to everybody, like I'm not too like whatever.
I hope they
that.
tell everybody they know about Neon Lords.
Well, no, you know what I mean. But so I talked to them, and then I because a caveat into this is that did you know you could sell your physical books from your house on Drivethru?
Oh, you mean like the ones
yeah.
you've already got in inventory?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
No, we talked about this on one of the shows. They were doing it. We don't know a whole lot about it, but they were.
You got to understand. I don't listen to this show.
Right.
Because not only can you sell books, you can sell any merchandise you have through Drivethru.
Can I sell this book that I found in the trash? I mean,
well, obviously, no. Well, it's like
I'm just kidding.
It's like dice bags, GM screens. You can sell all that on Drivethru now.
Yeah, I got a frog. Yeah.
So then they asked me if I knew about it. And I explained. I do it now. It's awesome. Like it's free. Like those books were just sitting in a box, right? So they're at least going out to people.
Yeah.
And then I got back from Origins, and a couple days later, she sent me an email and remembered every single thing we talked about.
That's cool.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. See, I was impressed because I was like, dang,
Okay.
she didn't write a thing down. She just like tagged it all in her brain, came back, wrote out an email, and then like remembered everything and like followed up on everything, which I need to follow up on that email. But like, I was impressed.
That's cool. That's cool. I like to hear that. 'Cause you know what I realized? I might have a little bit of residual about the fact that they're, owned by Roll20 or they own Roll20.
Right.
I don't know who
Roll20 owns them.
Yeah, and I'm like, Roll20 can kind of kiss my ass. But, how far down am I drinking now? But, you know what? You know what I want to talk about? I want to talk about the goddamn Neon Lords. What I want to talk about.
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's do that.
Here we go. Bam, like that.
Where's my
That's
hat?
a thing.
Brian, you're on the stage.
I know.
Yeah,
I'm excited
What
to
are
be
you looking
back.
at?
It's been a long time since I've been here. I mean, I guess it's all relative because this art I use for everything. It feels like, but generally the big thing.
Who is this artist? Fucking.
So
Christ, I love
it
this
is.
artist.
His name is Lukaz. Lukaz is his first name. I will butcher his last name, but he lives in Poland. It's like Kolowski or something. He's
Oh, I thought he lives in Canada. Wait a minute, doesn't he live in Canada? His first name's Brian. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead. Sorry. Somebody who watches our show all the time. Somebody we're friends with, Brian Kolowski.
He's actually one of our, he's part of our inner circle. So
yeah,
but it wouldn't even be Kolowski. I kind of just anyway. Either way, he did a lot. He did the logo. He did all that art, and he did. I did a game called 1-900 Fantasy recently. That's you're a kid who steals a credit card and dials into this fake 1-900 game you can play on your phone.
I remember when you were coming up with the idea for this.
I talk about it. Oh, yeah, that's the last name. That's exactly the last name.
Oh, he's a Kowalczyk.
Kowalczyk.
Nice. Kowalczyk.
Nice.
Something I'm probably not, actually, now that, I'm
You're just racist. I get it.
Yeah. So, and I've had him on the show, and but he's phenomenal. He's one of my favorite.
Is that Lord Randy in the top?
So not necessarily Lord Randy proper, but a swole priest.
Maybe an avatar of Randy. Okay, a priest of Randy.
So they're not avatars; they are savatars.
Savatars.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Savatars of Lord Randy. And then
it's been a minute since you've been here, so why don't you let's start with the pitch. Let's start with
so the elevator pitch is Neon Lords of the Toxic Wasteland is a post-apocalyptic tabletop role-playing game. It's essentially if you took Judge Dredd RoboCop and mixed it with Guar and the Toxic Avenger.
Nice.
And you have literally mixed it with Guar in
Yes.
other ways.
Yeah. A lot of Guar in the book, a lot of Guar working on the book, and a lot of Guar working on games not involved. But it's a long story.
You actually no, I don't think let's
Yeah.
not skip over this. You actually have been designing games with a member of Guar.
Right.
Yeah, dude, it was so cool at Page to meet one of the guys from War.
Origins. So there's two guys. So there's Hunter, his original Techno Destructo, works on it, but then Matt, he's currently in Guar. He plays the character Sawboard Destructo, and he does all their art. He's working on Roller Brawl as well. He just doesn't get to go to the cons. But Origins, we had all of us there.
Nice.
Incredible.
Oh, thanks. So yeah, so that's like the basic pitch. It's just like over the top, post-apocalypse. So it's like Masters of the Universe. If somebody like did some cocaine and decided to make it while listening to some Guar, some thrash metal at the time.
And we see actually up there in the top right, we see the Roller Brawl artwork for that. Where are we with Roller Brawl right now, by the way?
Roller Brawl, actually, I've been talking to Kickstarter because I do know somebody who works there, so I could. I mean, I do like Kickstarter a lot, even regardless of if I know somebody there or anything. But we are looking to go to crowdfunding for Roller Brawl like March, April.
Nice.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're chugging right along with it.
I mean, look, I've only played pre-production, prototype versions that you brought to the cons, but it had elements of all of some of my favorite games in it. So I'm psyched for this. It's just going to be mad fun. But let's talk about Neon.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, that's Lucas is the bottom. That's our original GM screen that he did the art for that too.
That's beautiful. Yep. What's your latest stuff you got out?
Yeah, so the latest thing is I took the Morkborg rules and made a lighter, like a rules light version of Neon Lords to kind of go along with. I did a skirmish game of Neon Lords called Violence Action Cash Prizes that uses the Forbidden Psalm rules. Those are like the skirmish rules for Morkborg. And then me and Brian Colin from Vaskrim, we came up with these he came up with it, and I kind of stole the idea and said, I got to have it for Neon Lords. So they're like A5 size, so a smaller. I wish I brought one. I mean, that would
look at you being all European and S.
Right? Yeah. So like an A5 size Velcro enclosed 3-ring binder, or as we call them, Trapper Keepers.
Yeah, so like mini Trapper Keepers.
Yeah. I know Brian doesn't like it when I call them Trapper Keepers because we're Battle Binders. We're not Trapper Keepers. But anyway,
Battle
Binders. Yep. So I had the skirmish game in there, and like the goal was to do a roll. Like I was like, man, I want Neon Lords to fit in the A5 size. So it's like, well, I was either going to take the pre-existing rule set and bring it to the A5, but that would have been massive, right? So it's I was like, well, if the skirmish game is already using the Morkborg rules, just make a Morkborg version of Neon Lords, which was Neon Bastards.
Nice.
Yeah. So it actually takes place in an alternate universe called the Bastard Earth. So it's a lot like Neon Lords, but some things are a little different.
Oh, this is beautiful. So, first of all, where are you going to be? Where can somebody go to an event and play some of this and get to know about it? It can be an online, virtual, in person.
A lot's going on. So online every Thursday, I do a Wasteland Marches campaign on the Neon Lords Discord, where you can jump in with your character, go on an adventure for a couple 3 hours, and then make it back to the safe zone, and we log off for the night. So you can go do that every Thursday, the Neon Lords Discord, and I will be at Gen Con at the Creature Curation. They're the publishers of Vaskrim and Raptor Ruckus, as well as Neon Bastards. So I will be there demoing the skirmish side of it and then promoting Neon Bastards. And then I will be in Pittsburgh at the Pittsburgh Gaming Expo in October. I'll be at Arcane Con.
Arcane
October as well.
Con.
Yay!
Shire Con. I'm pretty sure I'm going to Shire Con.
Shire Con.
I'll be at Granite State Comic Con in September, I believe that one is.
Okay.
In Manchester, New Hampshire.
Nice. Very manly. Manchester.
Yeah.
Man.
Manch Vegas, as they call it.
They do.
My wife's from New Hampshire, so she calls it Manch Vegas. And then I'll be at Page.
Never heard of it.
So, yeah, this will be, I know, the 4th year. I didn't go this year rather, but I'll be back.
Cool.
Pretty much, I'm all over the place on the East Coast.
Loads of fun every Thursday.
Yeah.
So I mean, there you go, everybody. Just get on the Neon Lord. Just search on Discord. Just look for the Neon Lords Discord server. I mean, how do you get into it if somebody's not in it?
Discord's weird. So like, you gotta find the link. If you just go to neonlords.com, there's like the link tree, and then the Discord's invites in there.
Beautiful. So there you go. You can get in that way.
Yeah.
And if somebody what can somebody get from you? What's the newest, coolest, hottest thing to get?
Yeah.
So it depends. So pre-release is up for Neon Bastards. If you want to do the Mork Borg route, that uses Pogs as an initiative rather than dice, so you can play with all your old Pogs. Or
Sweet.
you can I have a Shopify that has like the old Neon Lords books, which Neon Lords is still like Neon Lords proper or classic is still going to be aligned with Neon Bastards as like a secondary line.
Sweet.
Yeah.
And hopefully, I mean, we were just talking about this beforehand, so there's no commitment to this yet, but we're trying to make sure we can try and get Brian up to TotalCon. So hopefully, if we can work that out, if it works out for you, we'll absolutely have him in the Analog Union room.
Yeah. So we'll be doing an Analog Union room at TotalCon, and we said enough about Analog Union. Just go there, join it, follow us. Yeah. It'll be great.
Yeah.
I think we've run long tonight. We're at an hour 21. So why don't we wrap it up for this evening?
One more thing real quick.
One more thing.
Patreon.
Yes.
So every month put out this big fat Patreon release.
Whoa! How do I get in on this?
I spent an entire month working on this. It's patreon.com/Solarian. Primarily it's for Top Secret, but really it's for any modern action thriller game. So if you're running Conspiracy X or I don't know, Delta Green or whatever, it's totally good for that as well. And basically, most of the stuff that I'm releasing has been world building type stuff. So like corporations, organizations, that kind of thing. And they're all for the modern setting because, the modern setting is deceptively hard to run. And because, you think, oh, well, it's our world today. I can just, I know exactly because, we're doing a thing in New York. We'll just do it in New York. But to know what to do in a thriller action setting in those places, and what kind of organizations and stuff, it gets kind of hard because you're just like, well, who would really be the bad guy and why would they be the bad guy? And a good example would be if you're looking on the screen down in the bottom left, I have this organization called Hexon. And so I've been making up all these different organizations and corporations and stuff because, we don't want to disparage any real corporations out there because we don't know what they're really doing. And I don't want to say, because Hexon,
we don't get sued.
Hexon is obviously a parody of Exxon.
Who? I can't imagine who would be a parody of. I'm legally unable to think of what that could be.
But I do know this as a fact. Oil companies do have contractors and basically mercenaries that they hire to protect their interest in places that are dangerous. So if they're drilling oil in a country that doesn't have good control over, rebels and stuff like that, they have to have people on site who are armed and who are, dangerous because they need to protect their interests. But at the same time, that can lead to nefarious things because when you have soldiers who are dangerous in a location and it's a corporation not being run by, a government agency who has the interest of their investors rather than the people who live there, things could go awry. So spent some time writing up how this would work and how this works with Icon. But Icon could be any like agency. It doesn't have to, Icon just does what other agencies do, for the good of humanity and other countries in the world itself. At any rate, the point is that this is all set up for top secret, but could be used with any modern setting. So I would say, check out our Patreon. If you're running any modern game, you're going to find stuff that you could use.
Yes, do that. All right, we are at the end of another long week and another long day, and we have ended the show. So if you are a Patreon backer at any financial level, you can join us on the Discord. There's a link. You can get in there. It's our after party. I'm going to make another drink so you can really hear what I really think. And we'll see you there. Brian, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's so great to have you here.
Yeah, I love coming up.
We'd love to have you. And Analog Union represent. All right, everybody. Have a good night. Have a good week. And we will see you in 7 more days.